Hello, it's me again, the Mad Fan, and I'm here to do a review of a Doctor Who episode. I'm going all Shatner right now, because I'm improvising. But honestly, I feel like that is going to be less cringy than the episode itself. So today, if you read the title, I'm reviewing Love and Monsters. And why have I chose this episode? Well, because I have never watched it. Yeah. 20 years, never sat down and watched it once. I tried to get into it. 10 minutes in, I had to go and do something else, and I never came back to it since. Although I have seen the ending as well, so debatable. Basically, I have never sat down and watched the whole thing from beginning to end. I've got a general gist on what the plot's about, but otherwise, not much. So, yeah, I have seen some of the best, some of the worst, some of the most offensive, some of the most debatable and controversial and outright destroying of the canon episodes Doctor Who has ever produced. I've seen all 4 of the official spin-offs. Yes, 4. I've seen the entire K9 series. I've seen both animated episodes, plus all of the animated reconstructions that are available, but I have not seen Love and Monsters. Until today. 20 years on. Well, 20 years and 2 days I've been busy. Get off my back, I couldn't do this on the day. Okay. So, my guess going in is that there are going to be some innuendo moments. It's going to be a lot of awkward fan comparisons and how sort of older audience interact with the show and how it sort of brings people together. I know Peter Kay plays the Absorbaloff, and I've seen him as the Absorbaloff, so I know what happens. But it was designed by a fan of Blue Peter, and what I'll say is, while it is one of the most ridiculous looking monsters of Doctor Who, part of the reason why I never watched it was because the whole idea of being sucked into this thing was creepy when I was growing up. I mean, it would suck. It would really suck to just have your face stuck on someone's body and just basically, I think, be digested. It's quite unsettling when you think about it. I mean, say what you will about the Weeping Angels, but they just send you to the past. Basha Narada, over in a second. Daleks, it's brutal, painful, but also kind of awesome, the way they kill people. It even makes turning into a Cyberman seem more appealing than, you know, being stuck on a fat man's torso or whatever. Yeah, so I think that's all I know about the episode so far. I mean, there's other elements, but I'm going to go into that when I review the whole thing. So, that's it. That's the introduction done. I'm going to go watch the episode, come back and tell you all about it. I think that episode was a hint and a little bit of a warning for what we should have expected during RTD2. Checking the camera, but it's weird. I can't. It felt like a hodgepodge of different elements. I mean, you had all of the video blog things, which is kind of weird because that's what I'm doing now. You've got genuine episode, then you've got this whole madcap fat alien. Then you've got these awkward slapsticky moments, I dropped my lens cap, that don't really fit any tone. I mean, I was thinking this when watching this, but out of this episode was more cartoonish than the actual cartoon Doctor Who episodes. And it's so difficult to talk about because it just felt like a series of sequences of events. I mean, I could start with the good stuff, like Camilla Cordeau really got a chance to shine in the episode. I hope I pronounced her name right, even though I just looked it up. Yeah, so we finally get more Jackie doing, so she gets a bit more character development and focus in this episode, but otherwise, and I think Peter Kay, actually, when he was playing Victor Kennedy, was a much more interesting villain than when he was the Absorbaloff. And I don't understand why they... I suppose having these two very different appearing characters speak with very different speaking same voices. I mean, you can't imagine Victor Kennedy having the Absorbaloff voice, and you can't imagine the Absorbaloff having Victor Kennedy's voice, because even though they're the same person, they're almost two different characters. So I think what I'm going to say about that is, good job on the kid William Graham for getting to make a monster for Doctor Who, and honestly it is kind of still creepy. I mean, the absorbing scene was a little bit freakish. I mean, it as I said before, it would absolutely suck. I would just rather be shot than that. Yeah, but I feel like it's difficult to put into words. I mean, Rose and the Doctor didn't have much appearance in the episode, but that's to be expected. It was the archetype Doctor-like episode, and honestly, compared to others, I feel like this one sort of like was the troubleshooting. I mean, Turn Left and Blink, both great episodes. This one not so much. I feel like this one sort of said, okay, this is how not to do a standalone Doctor-like episode. A couple more things I think I'm going to add. I want to wrap this up quick, but one thing I will say, I feel like Bridget's backstory with the missing daughter was sort of a bit too heavy. I mean, for what the episode ended up being, was kind of a heavy thrown out there moment, and the whole themes of like love and relationships kind of, I'd say, worked in some ways, didn't work in others, and especially with Ursula, because that felt a little bit rushed. We didn't get much time to see her and Elton, and there's nothing you convince me that ending was just messed up. I mean, would you rather, in the comment section, tell me now, would you rather be dead or just a face in a pavement slab? Tell me that now. But there's one thing I was sort of looking out for. So, I'm part of a Facebook group that does memes, and there's sort of like a joke about Ursula being in the MCU. It's a meme, and they've brought up the Chinese takeaway, which I didn't get because, as I said, I never watched the episode until now, and it was sort of like a weird thrown out moment. Yeah. And it's interesting because while I never watched this episode, I did, as I said, knew a bit about it because of all the media I consume. But this episode has had an impact. I mean, the Hoyks had a couple of cameos, one in Tortured, one in The Pandoric Opens, plus a couple others if I double check. So, sort of ironic that the main monster is sort of like the one thing that's sort of been left out. So you had the Hoyks, you had the flashbacks to the previous episodes. Those I think were done quite well, sort of seeing it from an individual point of view rather than the main cast. And also you had the Elemental Shades, which fans have kind of connected to the Trickster. If you check the Wikipedia, they sort of gel it together. Okay, back for one more thing I wanted to mention as part of the whole how this episode has expanded the lore of the franchise, sort of with the Hoyks and the Shades. One other thing, Clom. That got mentioned quite a few times in the show, hasn't it? It was in Stolen Earth. It was referenced in a few Slovene stories during the Sarah Jane adventures, and I can't remember if the last time... Oh, the Disneyland Warp Speed Death Ride on Clom, as referenced in The Girl Who Waited. So that's kind of got me a little bit of a headcanon fan theory, and I think the Absorbaloff are extinct. And I think what happened is that Clom was ravaged and burnt out by the flux event, killing them all. Fingers crossed. And now I think eventually human colonists would migrate and take over Clom and build a Disneyland now, which kind of makes sense because they own everything. So, yeah, I think that's all I've got to say. It's kind of a ramble, but honestly, that's this episode in a nutshell. Is such an absurd collection of ideas. So yeah, if I was to give this a score, I'd say about, if I'm generous, a 5, but I think I feel like on a rewatch it's going to be a 4. So yeah, so comment below if you want me to review other Doctor Who episodes. What did you think of Love and Monsters? Did you watch it when it first came out? And I'll see you next time. Bye bye for now. And subscribe. I don't do that much on my reviews, so if you feel free to subscribe, you subscribe. If you don't have to. Click for notifications if you want your phone going off every time I post a new video, or if you just don't want that waste of battery, you don't have to. Don't make you conform. Smash the system, and I'll see you next time.